I'm Hua Mulan.
The story of Mulan is actually the biography of a brave and warrior girl from China. At the beginning of the story, Mulan's childhood is considered, the little girl who messed up the whole neighborhood looking for a rooster and jumped from the top of every platform, and followed the rooster through the neighbor's kitchen and landed all the fruits in her dish in the middle of her kitchen. In the end, she even went to the roof of the houses and climbed it quickly. The whole neighborhood had gathered and watched her. Mulan reached down from the ceiling and skillfully shook the stick in her hand, and her father looked at his daughter calmly and proudly, but the rest of the people, including Mulan's mother, were sorry and shook their heads. Everyone spoke badly about her, even some of them called her a witch. Several years passed, a large group headed by a young man attacked the country through the northwest Silk Road of China, and many soldiers were killed. A young woman was working with this group. She had injured all the soldiers and she took every arrow that was thrown at her from all sides. In a corner of the market, that woman turned into a bird and flew towards Buri Khan with great speed and reached him. But on the other side of the city, what was Mulan doing as a young woman? She rode her horse from here to there and looked at the rabbits. When she backed home, she was enthusiastically talking about the rabbits and the outdoor space and how little he paid attention to them and wanted to pay more attention to them when her mother suddenly said, "Matchmaker Aunt has chosen a boy for you to be your husband." Mulan, who didn't pay attention to these issues at all until she came to protest, her father said, "Every girl gets the honor of every family with her marriage, don't you want to be an honor for us?" Mulan didn't say another word and accepted without protest. Mulan's mother took her to a hairdresser and they did a makeup for Mulan, which is their custom, and they all agreed to go to her aunt. Mulan was also angrily talking about food, but her mother said that eating food would ruin her makeup. Mulan said sarcastically to her sister, "Nothing can destroy this volume of cosmetics." They arrived at the aunt's house and Mulan acted like a respectable lady. They were sitting behind the table where there was a teapot, a cup and a saucer, and the aunt was praising Mulan's dignity in being a lady, compliments that don't suit Mulan at all. Suddenly, a spider stood right in front of Mulan's sister. If you remember, she was very afraid of spiders. Mulan, who realized the situation, quickly took the teapot and put it on the spider. Aunt gave a bad look and said, "Did the teapot have a special reason somewhere?" Mulan only said that the teapot should be there. But the aunt said with an almost annoyed look, "Put the teapot in its place." Mulan had to pick up the teapot to put it in its place when her aunt, mother and sister jumped when they saw the spider, and all the containers were suspended in the air, and Mulan, using her strange power, made some complicated movements of them, but because she couldn't keep her balance, so it was distributed on the ground. The aunt got angry and threw them out of her house by saying that your family was dishonored. At the same time, Jarkians came to Mulan neighborhood and informed the people about the emperor's order. A man from each family nominates himself for the war. Mulan's family didn't have a son, so Mulan's father introduced himself, but when he came back to his family and he fell on the ground, Mulan wanted to go and pick him up, but his mother didn't allow this. She didn't give it and said that you will ruin it more. On the dinner table, Mulan's mother tried to dissuade her father from going to war because of his weak legs, but Mulan's father said, "You can't disobey the royal order." Mulan said, "How do you want to fight?" The father got angry and hit the table and said, "I have to go to war as the father of the family and you are a girl here, so understand your place." At the end of the night, the father was preparing his war equipment, sword, armor, etc. Mulan had also come to the father and was looking at those tools with interest, and they talked a little. At the end, near the morning, Mulan put on a war dress, sword, and she took her father's armor and joined the soldiers. Mulan's father was looking for his sword and armor in the morning. Her mother and sister were also scared, but her father quickly understood that it was Mulan's work. Mulan's mother said, "Enemies will kill him." Her father said, "If I reveal her before the enemy, our own people will kill him." Mulan disguised herself as men and joined them. At the very beginning, she was about to fight with one of the soldiers, when a person came and separated her and said that she was their senior commander and fighting was prohibited there. From tomorrow morning, hard training and war exercises have started. Exercises that even made some people cry. On one of the days of training with one of the soldiers, she made such good moves that all the soldiers gathered and watched her. After this fight, Mulan went inside the tent and whispered to herself, and now my power is no longer hidden, everyone understood. And she said to herself with regret, why did I do this? Some soldiers came and complimented her movements, they noticed her bad body odor, she didn't go to the bathroom because she didn't reveal her gender. On the other side, Buri Khan had gathered with his forces and were talking about their imaginary victory in the future. Buri Khan used to say, that which works for me so she is serving us. So think about the victory after these battles and the riches we will receive. A person stood up and said that money isn't important to him. Buri Khan said firmly, so I promise you, we will take revenge for the land we lost to the emperor. And then they shook hands together as a sign of satisfaction. Let's go back to Mulan, in the base of war soldiers. Someone came and called Mulan, she introduced herself as Junhua to the commander. The commander said, what are you hiding? I understood your power from the beginning, why are you hiding your power? This power deserves only the best. From the very beginning, the commander had chosen a peak so that an exemplary soldier could reach it with buckets of water in both hands and with open hands, but only Mulan could reach that peak. Buri Khan's raiders had invaded the empire through several routes and it was time to attack and be a real soldier. The next morning, Buri Khan and the Chinese Empire attacked and the real war began. After a few shots, only a few of Buri Khan's men were running away, so the commander ordered to follow them and attack them too, but the fighting still continued on the battlefield. Some of the few people who went after those people, only Mulan survived and she rode her horse until she reached a secluded place where there was no one. Suddenly the witch who worked for Buri Khan appeared in front of her and she realized that Mulan also has strange powers. And she is capable like her. They got into a fight, although the witch's strength was almost a little more than Mulan. Witch said, you are a liar and this power weakens you. Witch said seriously, I ask you again, who are you? But Mulan's answer was the royal soldier Junhua. Witch said, so you will die while pretending to be something you are not. They fought harder and Mulan spread on the ground. In those moments, Junhua was really about to die. Because a lie can only last for a short time, but Mulan survived. Mulan opened her eyes and took out the arrow in her chest, and seeing one of the pillars of war that was recorded on her ancestral sword, so she decided to reveal her true identity, and it was nothing but honesty. She galloped back with her horse and threw all her men's iron clothes on the ground. When she reached the battlefield, she untied her hair which she had tied up like men, and fought powerfully and boldly. Some people quickly said that she was a witch and ran away. The enemy soldiers were throwing fireballs. Mulan took the hats of some soldiers on the ground and put them on top of a peak. The warriors on top of the enemy mountain thought that there were many soldiers there, so they stopped firing and started shooting towards the mountain. Mulan used her power to hit the ground and all the snow on the mountain started to fall like an avalanche. All the soldiers started running away. Then, there was no more fighting and the soldiers were all in a corner. The commander ordered everyone to find their own friend. Everyone was found, but there was no sign of Junhua until Mulan approached them. They were all looking at each other. The angry commander said, you are cunning, you made the reputation of the family go up. They expelled her from the royal army and even said that if she is found again and they will execute her. Mulan was sad and went to a peak and started crying. In the meantime, the witch, who had first disguised herself in the form of several birds, came to her. Witch said, I know you, I was the girl when people turned their backs on me. Do you think I didn't walk an honorable way? I lived an exile life, not a family life. We are the same, but Mulan quickly said, we are not. The witch said, we are. Today they turned their backs on us and make your way with me. Mulan said, you are working for a coward, and he runs away from the war. But Sahira informed Mulan that Buri Khan has attacked this place. Now to evacuate the royal city, and attacked the royal city. Mulan, I protect my emperor. Mulan quickly went to the commander and informed them of this. But the commander didn't trust Mulan because of her lies. Mulan explained the matter to the commander and asked them to send her to the royal city. The commander agreed and made Mulan their leader and reached the royal city. Which didn't miss the opportunity and gave this news to Buri Khan, who was with the emperor on the roof of one of the palace houses. Buri Khan had offered the emperor a duel, and the emperor had accepted for the sake of the people of the city and wanted to kill Buri Khan with his own hands like his father. All the royal guards gathered in a place and were ready to fight. Mulan and her soldiers also arrived. They opened all the way for Mulan to go to the emperor's palace, and the mission of defending the emperor was given to Mulan. She opened the door of the palace room and didn't pay attention to who was on the emperor's seat, and bowed and said, "I am Mulan Hua, I am here to save and protect you." Suddenly, the witch got up from the throne and stood in front of Mulan, and they started talking. Mulan wanted to lead the witch to an honorable path and asked her about the emperor. The witch turned into an eagle and walked towards the emperor with speed. Mulan also jumped from the roofs of the houses and followed him to find the emperor. Buri Khan had tied the emperor's hands and feet and filled the bottom of the house with molten materials to kill the emperor and throw him in the fire. Witch flew towards Buri Khan and landed in front of him and began to speak. The attack began with strong resistance with a girl from a small village. Buri Khan looked at Witch with a sarcastic smile and said, "You're putting it here." And he threw an arrow at Mulan, who had just arrived, but the witch quickly turned into an eagle and threw herself in front of the arrow to keep Mulan alive. But she herself died, and her last words were, "Get your place, Mulan." After leaving Witch's body, Mulan went to Buri Khan and the attack started. Buri Khan said sarcastically, "A girl has come to save the dynasty." After a bit of a struggle, Buri Khan threw Mulan's sword into the molten material. When the emperor realized that Mulan was losing weight, he said, "Rise up like a phoenix and fight for your people." Mulan stood up and fought continuously with Buri Khan and finally succeeded in killing Buri Khan and saving the empire. After the end of the war and the victory in it, a celebration was held in the royal city and Mulan was invited to the emperor. As a reward, the emperor asked her to become a war commander. But Mulan started talking with shame and said, "I left my house and my family secretly, and in the dark of the night, I made decisions that resulted in dishonor. Since then I swore to be loyal, brave and honest. To keep this oath, I have to return home and console my family." The emperor said, "Okay, Mulan. Sacrifice for the family is an essential element." Mulan left late at night and returned to his village in the next morning. The people of the village were no longer sorry and looked at Mulan happily. Mulan's mother and sister hugged her. Her father approached her while her tears were flowing. Mulan apologized to her father for stealing her spear, sword and clothes. Her father proudly looked at his daughter and hugged her, apologizing to her for his misplaced pride that had caused Mulan to walk away from him. In the meantime, the war commander along with a number of soldiers arrived at Mulan's living quarters. They gave Mulan a beautiful sword with the 3 main pillars engraved on it. Mulan noticed a pillar with a sword engraved on it, and the commander asked him to read that pillar aloud. Mulan said loudly, "Sacrifice for the family." One of the emperor's soldiers brought the news to Mulan that the emperor still has the opportunity to become a war commander for Mulan and is waiting for his decision. That young girl, Mulan, became a soldier, then became a commander, and the commander became a legend.